Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. On the football field, they were the ultimate chess masters. 20 years, 6 rings, and an unspoken language that destroyed defenses before the snap. On the pickleball court, that same icy precision turns lethal. Belichick would run the strategy like he's watching game tape in real time, shifting positions, calling shots, and turning every dink rally into a trap. Brady? He's the closer. Laser-accurate drives down the line, perfectly timed poaches, and a mental game so unshakable you'd swear he already knows your next shot. The only downside? Belichick's post-match press conference would be 4 words. On to the next. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. This is chaos, but the fun kind. Mahomes doesn't just hit shots, he invents them mid-air. Jumping, twisting, flicking a cross-court winner while still in the kitchen? That's Tuesday for him. Reid is the creative engine, dialing up deceptive lobs, fake drop shots, and perfectly timed poaches, like they're trick plays out of his Super Bowl playbook. Together, they'd make every rally unpredictable, forcing opponents to guess and guess wrong, over and over. And if all else fails, Mahomes just sidearms a forehand past you like it's a 40-yard touchdown. Joe Montana and Bill Walsh. Precision. That's the word. Montana and Walsh built their NFL dynasty on timing routes, so sharp they felt choreographed. On the pickleball court, it's the same story. No wasted movement, no rushed shots. Walsh would draw up high-percentage patterns, setting Montana up for clean putaways that look effortless. Montana's footwork would keep him balanced for every strike, never overreaching, never panicking. By the time you realize you're stuck in their web, they've already closed out the point with a shot you couldn't reach in 100 tries. Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy. This is the ultimate outthink you team. Manning would be running the court like it's a pre-snap read, calling out your weaknesses, adjusting his positioning, and hitting the exact shot to exploit you. Dungy? He's the steady anchor, never rattled, feeding perfect setups and forcing opponents to play long, grinding rallies. Together, they'd break you down mentally before they beat you physically, turning every match into a slow, inevitable checkmate. Brett Favre and Mike Holmgren. Controlled chaos. Favre would play pickleball the same way he played quarterback. Fearless, unpredictable, and occasionally making a shot no one in their right mind would even try. Holmgren would be the safety net, keeping things steady and reeling Favre back in just enough to prevent disaster. The result? A high-risk, high-reward team that could win points in spectacular fashion, or lose them just as dramatically. Either way, you'd never be bored playing against them. Drew Brees and Sean Payton. This duo is all about precision and creativity. Brees would thread pickleball passes, shots, through impossibly small gaps, using angles nobody else even sees. Payton would be on the sideline of the court, or maybe right next to him, calling aggressive patterns, mixing in unexpected speed-ups, and keeping opponents off balance. Their style wouldn't just be efficient, it would be relentless. A constant mix of ball control and surprise attacks that leaves you wondering what just happened. Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. This is the smooth operators team. Rodgers would be gliding around the court, disguising every shot until the last second, then ripping a winner that leaves you frozen. LaFleur brings the calm, steady setups, perfect drops, smart positioning, and a knack for drawing weak returns that Rodgers can punish. They'd frustrate opponents not with sheer power, but with a mix of patience and sudden surgical strikes. Dan Marino and Don Shula. Pure firepower. Marino's forehand would be like his arm. Quick release, insane velocity, and zero hesitation. Shula would run the court with disciplined positioning, making sure Marino always has the right ball to attack. They wouldn't waste time with long dink rallies. They'd be looking to end points fast, and more often than not, they'd succeed. Play them. And you'd better have lightning-fast reflexes, or a helmet. John Elway and Mike Shanahan. Relentless pressure. Elway's athleticism would let him cover the entire court, chasing down lobs and turning defense into offense in a heartbeat. Shanahan would orchestrate patterns to keep opponents scrambling, setting Elway up for crushing overheads and blistering drives. Their whole game plan? Keep you running until you break, then finish you with a shot you never saw coming. Terry Bradshaw and Chuck Noll. Old school grit. Bradshaw would bring the raw power, smashing drives with the same no-fear attitude he used to launch deep balls in the 70s. Noll would balance it with discipline and rock-solid fundamentals, keeping their game simple but brutally effective. No flash, no gimmicks, just steady pressure until the other team cracks. They'd make every match feel like a fourth-quarter playoff drive. Steve Young and George Seifert controlled aggression. Young's mobility would make him a nightmare to pin down, darting to the kitchen, chasing down lobs, and attacking from impossible angles. Seifert would keep the tactics tight, setting up long rallies until Young could pounce. They'd blend patience with sudden bursts of speed, turning even defensive points into lightning strike winners. Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson. This is the execution over everything team. Aikman would keep his shots clean, consistent, and perfectly placed. No wasted swings, no risky plays. Johnson would be the motivator and strategist, keeping the intensity high and the mistakes low. They wouldn't blow you off the court with flash, but they'd suffocate you with flawless fundamentals until the match was theirs. Kurt Warner and Mike Martz. High-octane offense. Warner would play pickleball like he ran the greatest show on turf. Fast pace, constant pressure, and pinpoint accuracy on every shot. Martz would keep the tempo blazing, forcing opponents into rushed mistakes. They'd win points in bunches, turning matches into shootouts where you either keep up or get left in the dust. Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Relentless optimism meets relentless hustle. Wilson would be everywhere, chasing down every shot, scrambling to reset points, and pulling off clutch winners when it matters most. Carroll would keep the energy high, feeding smart setups and keeping the game plan loose so Wilson could improvise. They'd frustrate opponents by never going away, no matter the score. Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin. Power and resilience. Roethlisberger would muscle shots through tight windows, using his size to dominate at the net. Tomlin would bring the steady, unshakable presence, keeping their strategy sharp and their focus locked in. Even when a rally looks lost, they'd grind it out and flip the momentum, turning defense into game-changing offense. Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. All gas, no brakes. Allen's sheer athleticism would bring thunderous overheads, lightning-fast drives, and impossible gets that keep rallies alive. McDermott would match that energy with aggressive court positioning, pushing the pace and forcing opponents into bad decisions. They wouldn't just play to win, they'd play to overwhelm you, point after point. Michael Vick and Andy Reid. Speed kills. Vick's court coverage would be ridiculous. No lob is safe, no drop shot unreachable. Reid would unleash the creativity, giving Vick the green light to attack from anywhere. Every rally would feel like trying to stop a highlight reel in progress. Johnny Unitas and Don Shula. Old school dominance. Unitas would bring pinpoint passing disguised as pickleball placement, dropping the ball exactly where it needed to be. Shula would provide the relentless discipline, wearing opponents down with mistake-free play until they crack. Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. Pure chaos, in the best way. Lamar's quickness would turn defense into offense instantly, with acrobatic gets and mid-air flicks. Harbaugh would keep the strategy aggressive, pressuring opponents into rushed shots they'll regret. Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor. Cool and calculated. Burrow would stay composed no matter the score, threading perfect passes, shots, past defenders. Taylor would handle the tempo, slowing the game down when needed, then hitting you with a surprise speed-up when you least expect it. Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. Calculated firepower. Herbert's laser-accurate drives would force weak returns, and Harbaugh would pounce with aggressive net play. They'd play smart, but never shy away from taking the big swing when the opening's there. Cam Newton and Ron Rivera. Power meets poise. Cam would bring explosive athleticism, leaping for overheads and ripping forehands with brute force. Rivera would be the calm anchor, resetting points and giving Cam the perfect setups to attack. Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. Relentless offense. Stafford's arm talent translates to wicked paddle speed and fearless shot-making, while McVay keeps the tempo high and patterns unpredictable. They'd keep pressure on every rally, never letting you settle in. Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. Fast and flashy. Murray would zip around the court like a blur, tracking down balls no one else could reach. Kingsbury would push the creativity, mixing in sharp angles and sneaky drop shots to keep opponents guessing. Sammy Baugh and Ray Flaherty. The original aerial assault. Baugh's accuracy as the NFL's first great passer would translate into deadly pickleball placement, while Flaherty, the coach who invented the screen pass, would cook up creative patterns that leave opponents looking lost. Bart Starr and Vince Lombardi. Fundamentals, discipline, and ruthless efficiency. Starr wouldn't miss, ever. Lombardi's strategy would be direct and unstoppable. controlling the kitchen, winning the soft game, and then striking hard when the chance comes. They'd beat you without a single wasted point. Otto Graham and Paul Brown, pure dominance. Graham was a winner in every sense. 10 championship appearances in 10 seasons. And Brown was the football innovator who made it happen. On the court, they'd bring that same precision, structure, and refusal to ever let you breathe. Sid Luckman and George Hollis, the innovators. Luckman, master of the T formation, would keep opponents off balance with unpredictable angles. Hollis would run the game like a tactician, exploiting weaknesses with the patience of a man who basically helped invent the sport. Roger Staubach and Tom Landry, clutch and calculated. Staubach would never panic, coming alive when the match is on the line. Landry's stoic presence and methodical adjustments would turn every point into a carefully planned attack. In crunch time, they'd be unbeatable. Len Dawson and Hank Stram, creative and confident. Dawson's smooth style would pair perfectly with Stram's willingness to try anything. Tricky spins, daring lobs, and sudden pace changes. You'd never get the same rally twice. Fran Tarkenton and Bud Grant, relentless movement. Tarkenton would scramble all over the court, wearing opponents down until they break. Grant would keep him in check just enough to make sure all that energy leads to smart, punishing finishes. I'll be posting here more often, so I'd be grateful if you subscribed.